Dude, when we are talking about super accessible champs that you can get hypothetically as a free-to-play player from things like Ancient Shard pulls and stuff like that, Tagore is one of the best. He has a very, very strong revive on his A3, revive all dead allies, 30% HP, and also shields these revived allies by 20% of Tagore's HP. He's very, very good, but he is not one of the champs that we're going to be recommending as an auto 6-star in this video. He's very, very good, but even Tagore doesn't quite make the grade. So that's what this video is going to be covering, man. We're going to be covering the more accessible champs, no voids, wherever we can avoid it in this video. Just champs that you can pull from Ancient Shards, nice and accessible, that are healers, revivers, and unlike most of their counterparts, which can be left at level 50 and do a really, really good job on your account, a lot of these guys are worth taking up to level 60 just because they're so good into other areas of the game. And so what better place to start than good old Ugo, who just brings so much utility? Well, let's get to the heal and the revive first, right? So the A3, very, very versatile. This is great. Removes all heal reduction debuffs from all allies, great into Hydra. Then removes one random debuff from all allies, great into Hydra. And then heals all allies by 20% of this champion's max HP. Great everywhere, you know. Just a very, very sweet, awesome skill that's useful into so many different encounters. All of the normal dungeons, half of the Doom Tower bosses, Hydra, yeah. Now, if all allies are dead, revives them with 50% HP, then fills their 10 meter by half instead. Interesting, right? Especially given Ugo's passive, which is an increased speed and block damage buff on Ugo. If Ugo is the last living champ, right? As soon as your last living ally is killed, Ugo gets this crazy block damage and speed buff and can hopefully just rush towards getting off the A3 and getting the revive off. So sweet, just like a full reset, you know, crazy as hell. On top of that, Ugo of course brings a leech on the A1, which is great. Decreased defense and block buffs debuff on the A2 as well. Yeah, decreased defense is great everywhere. It's the strong version. The block buffs debuff, fantastic into Hydra as well, which is why, for the most part, Ugo is going to be an auto 6-star on your account, unless you just happen to pull Ugo like 2 years in or something, and then obviously by that point you might not need it. But, well, there you go. Next up on the list has to be Rector Drath, just because of the ridiculous amount of healing throughput. Yeah, Rector Drath has a crazy kit that's extremely useful for beginner players, which is why Rector Drath is the subject of our promo link for new players who are watching this channel. So if you want to sign up to Raid Shadow Legends and get Rector Drath completely for free as soon as your account hits level 25, then make sure to sign up using my promo link down below at the top of the video description, man. Click that link, sign up, you'll get Rector Drath as soon as your account hits level 25. If you are an existing player and you're using that promo link on a device that has already had Raid Shadow Legends installed at some point, then it will not work. You have to use this promo link on a new device that has never had Raid played on it before. Just a small caveat there, something I've only recently been made aware of, but, well, there you go. I thought that I mentioned that now. So, decreased attack on the A1, great into clan boss and honestly just lots of different areas of the game. Crazy healing output from Rector Drath, of course, heals all allies by 20% of this champ's max HP. After healing, place a perfect veil buff for 2 turns on all allies with full, or a 15% continuous heal buff on allies instead if they do not have full health. In addition to this, any ally that does get the perfect veil buff will also benefit from Rector's passive, which is whenever an ally under veil or perfect veil gets a turn, heals them by 10% of their max HP, which is just nuts. And then of course we have the single target revive. Nice powerful addition, 60% turn meter fill, and a perfect veil buff on the revived ally for 3 turns after that goes off, and it's only on a 4-turn cooldown bucked as well, so yeah. Rector Drath is another champ that you see very commonly taken up to 60. Next up, we'd be damn fools to not cover good old Sill of the Drakes. For most players out there, especially low spenders and free-to-play players, which is roughly, I don't know, like 60 or 70% of Raid Shadow Legends' player base, maybe even more, Sill of the Drakes is kind of going to be an auto 6-star on your account as well. More experienced players will tell you that she's been power crept, that she's no good anymore, that she's not an auto 6-star, but I think realistically for most new players, again, who aren't spending a whole lot, she's just useful in so many areas of the game that you might as well max her up, right? She brings a decreased speed debuff on the A1, which is great. The A2 is a double hitter with 2 chances of placing a stun debuff and a 35% land rate. Very nice against all variations of wave content. Really good. And then of course on the A3, 4-turn cooldown, single target revive, also placing a strong ally protection buff on the revived ally for a couple of turns as well. Yeah, Sill just does a lot, and of course on her passive as well. Every time she gets a 10, she just ticks for a 10% heal to all allies. Excellent. And yeah, for me, Sill of the Drakes, Free-to-play style, I don't think you're going to find a much better champ to be 6-starring at the 6-month mark than Scylla the Drex. I think most people would probably agree with that, maybe. Next up, we have the Force Affinity champ, good old Doom Priest. Oh my god, can I just say, I feel like my account leveled up when I pulled this champ during just a Ancient Shard pulling event. Doom Priest is crazy as hell. Her kit is so simple, but she's so effective at what she does. Just constant debuff removal, a constant stream of small heals across your entire team. It's all about the passive. The rest of her kit doesn't really matter. She has an A1 that hits, increases crit rate on an ally, and a strong version of increased attack on the A2, which I guess is fine. It's a nice to have, you know. The passive, though, heals all allies 7.5% of their HP every turn. Every time Doom Priest gets a turn, and removes one random debuff from them at the start of Doom Priest's turn as well. So, excellent. Really good. Put Doom Priest in something like a Relentless set so that she has that 18% chance every turn of just getting another turn, just getting an extra turn, and then this passive can double proc or sometimes even triple proc to just all kinds of healing, all kinds of debuff peels. She's great into so many Doom Tower bosses. She's helping me out currently in Hydra. She's just awesome. Oh, and I should mention as well that, well, if she's that good, she doesn't seem to require being level 60, and you're kind of right about that. You can leave her at level 50, but if you are really lacking debuff removal on your account, like I was at the time that I pulled Doom Priest, I took her all the way up to 60 just to get a speed banner on her, right? Just push as much speed on the champ as I possibly can, just to maximize the amount of turns that she's getting, so I can maximize Relentless procs, and just therefore maximize the amount of times that her passive is going off. And for me, I feel like it's been worth it, especially if you're planning on taking Doom Priest into Hydra as one of your chief cleansers and healers. You might as well take her up to 60 at that point, just to make sure that she is not a squish, you know? Now, I'm going to break my own rule just once here, just once, because we've covered 4 champs so far that I feel like are auto 6 stars that are just some of the best free-to-play healers and revivers in the game. I'm going to cover one Void Epic here, and her name is Goldseeker Iniri. Oh my god, do I wish I had this champ. This champ, auto 6-star, more so than any of the other champs that we've covered so far, I think. She's incredible everywhere, and she's a key component in 2-man Sand Devil farming teams. She just helps to trivialize farming your oils for weapon ascension in the Sand Devil's dungeon. If you're a brand new player and what I said doesn't even sound like English and you have no idea what the hell I'm talking about, what's Sand Devil, why is it important, blah blah blah, don't worry about it, okay? Just if you happen to get Goldseeker Iniri, max her out and all will become apparent in time. That's the best advice I can give, okay? So she brings some buff extension on her allies, a little bit of healing, stuff like that, some healing on the A1 as well. It's really all about her passive and the A3, however. So the A3 revives a dead ally with half HP and then fills their turn meter by 50% and resets the cooldown on all of their skills. What? Are you kidding me? That's crazy as hell. Extremely good single target revive. And then on the passive, increase the amount of healing allies receive by 10%. Fair enough, this is the passive effect. Then on a 4-turn cooldown, you have the active. If an ally is about to get killed by a fatal hit, preempt that hit and instantly place revive on death buff on them for 1 turn before the damage is taken. And it's this passive combined with the revive itself that makes her one of those, like I've already said, key components into Sand Devil farming at the highest levels. Yeah, honestly, Goldseeker is immense. So after cheating there a little bit, let's cover a handful more kind of like free-to-play style epics and rare healers and that kind of thing that are not necessarily auto 6 stars, but I don't think anybody would blame you if you did take them up to level 60, right? If the need calls for it on your account. We've got to talk briefly about good old Sinesha, who really, it's all about her A3, which reads, equalizes the HP of all allies. The HP levels of all allies will be brought up to the level of the ally with the highest HP, then heals the target ally by 10% of their max HP. So if you have a super tanky teammate in your champion team who's at like 90% health and everybody else is basically dead, right? They're at like 5% health or whatever, this skill will heal everybody up to 90% health. It will match them with the highest health champion on your team. And what's really cool about this is, if the comments, one of my more recent videos are to be trusted, somebody said that this actually will heal allies through heal reduction debuffs. I don't know if that's true, but then again, you read the tooltip, it doesn't say that it heals all allies. It says it equalizes the HP of all allies. And so it would make sense that this would actually penetrate through negative healing buffs, so like 100% minus healing debuffs, you know? So that is Sinesha, very, very cool indeed. Also, quick shout out to Tagore, of course, from the Orcs faction, which I won't cover him again. We've already looked at him real quick at the start of the video, but this is another champ that, honestly, very, very excellent indeed, and you can consider taking this guy up to 60, especially if you pull him very, very early on. Similar deal as well with Old Hermit Yorg. Honestly, the Orcs have some really, really good epic revivers, man. We've got a double revive here on Old Hermit Yorg, then fills 10 meters by 40% and places Perfect Veil buff on them for 2 turns. Again, for a double revive, not bad, man. Pretty damn solid. It also brings a small chance of placing HP burn on his A1, which can help out if you are leveling him for use in things like Doom Tower. If Frostbiter is giving you problems and you don't have an HP burner just yet, then this guy can be great to take into Frostbiter. And on the A2, he has a bit more utility as well, with an increased attack and a bit of 10 meter fill on that A2 as well. So, Ultimate Yorg, man, again, if you pull this guy super early on, this guy can also be worth taking up to 60. For most people, I think he's fine to be taken up to level 50 as your reviver of choice into Orc Faction Wars. Bit of a similar story as well with, where is he, man? Dur the Hungerer. Oh, wait a minute. He's not a skinwalker, he's a lizard man. God damn it, there he is in the Demon Swarm, man. Good old Dur the Hungerer. It's sort of a similar story with this guy. He brings some decent amount of utility with the stun on his A1, a little bit of reflect damage and some continuous heal on the A2. Not the most impressive sort of like secondary kit in the world, but again, for the Demon Spawn, if you need a reviver, revives 2 random allies, fills 10 meters by 50%, 410 cooldown. No additional extra effects. He's not the best reviver going, but as far as epic revivers go, and if you need one for Demon Spawn, he's probably another candidate to take up to level 50. Another champ that happens to be Void, but is just of the rare quality, is of course going to be Tree Shield. Not great rare reviver, maybe the best rare reviver in the game, to be honest, just given that it's a double revive. Revives 2 random allies on his A3, albeit only with 25% health and 25% 10 meter, but also places shield buff on the revived allies for a couple of turns, equal to 20% of the max HP, 510 cooldown. As far as rare champions go, really, really good indeed. And especially because he's a rare champion, anytime you're stuck in things like rare secret rooms or rare void secret rooms, or of course things like faction wars as well for the Sylvan Watchers. Tree Shield not pretty easy one to max out just using the rare skill tomes. I think he's actually a decent candidate to eventually take up to 60, but again, no rush to do so. Chances are you've got bigger priorities of guys to max out on your account for a long time to come. Take him up to level 50. He'll probably do just enough of a job for you. Next up for the possible 60s, we have good old Gorgorab of the Undead Holds faction, Magic Affinity Epic Support. This guy is honestly quite solid into, again, some other areas of the game. He's not just all about his revive, but it is a pretty good one. Revives any dead allies with 25% HP, then heals all allies by 25%. The heal will happen even if there are no dead allies, so you can just kind of use him as a healer if you want, and revive as sort of like a panic button or like a secondary utility of his A3, which is quite good. As for the rest of his kit, Gorgrab does decently well into a few of the Doom Tower bosses, at least anywhere where debuff removal is a thing, or rather buff removal is a thing, with a actually 75% bucked of removing 1 random buff from an enemy on his A1, which is kind of crazy as hell. It also brings a strong version of increased attack buff on his A2 and a little bit of 10 meter fill as well, making him a decent option into early arena. And again, Gorgrab, as a result, is one of those champs that's just versatile enough that if you pull him quite early on your account, somewhere in like the first like 4 to 5 months or something like that, you can definitely make a case for actually just maxing this guy out because of how many areas of the game you're using him in. Again, for most players, probably not going to be the case. Level 50 might do just fine for the use of the revive and the heal in faction wars, but yeah. Gorgorab, worth a mention. Dude, I'm tempted to really go off on one here and just start covering all of the decent healers that maybe you just want to take up to 50, but I'm going to try and keep the video relatively focused. I will say that as far as dwarfs go, via the Alchemage, as far as faction wars go, he's a decent little healer, brings a heal on his A4 as well as a little bit of 10 meter fill, A3 rather. Not bad on a 410 cooldown. For the high elves, obviously Apothecary is great. It brings a triple hitter on the A1, a big heal that can crit on the A2, which is awesome. Then some 10 meter fill and strong version of increased speed on the A3. Apothecary, for a lot of people, they do actually take him up to 60 just because, again, if you pull him early, he's also useful into many, many areas of the game. So Apothecary is definitely worth a shout. Going back to the dwarves, Master Butcher is one of those champs that's just a little bit of a cheat code and how much healing he can get off. When attacked, heals all allies equal to the amount of damage taken. Says it doesn't work against bosses, but there's one boss in particular that it does work against. But you know what? I've got a video coming up on that pretty soon, man. We're going to be talking about rare champions that are actually super budget cheat codes to certain bosses in the game throughout the dungeons and throughout Doom Tower. So make sure you stay tuned for that one. Master Butcher will definitely be featuring in there. He also brings very reliable provokes on the A1 and the A2 as well. So he's a good provoker option as well. Does a lot by Master Butcher. Definitely a champ worth looking at. If you're looking for dedicated healers for your Barbarians faction, Wood Painted is great with the A2. Remove all debuffs from this champ and one random debuff from all allies. Then heals this champion by 100% of a max HP and heals all allies equal to half of the surplus heal. So man, you build your Wood Painted, nice and tanky. Also plants a reflect damage buff on all allies for 2 turns after, then grants this champion an extra turn, by the way. So all kinds of additional effects on this. Basically makes it, when it's booked down, actually a 3-turn cooldown because of the extra turn, which is great. You can put Wood Painted in something like a Reflex set or a Relentless set and try and just get the cooldown of this down even more with those extra turns and those cooldown reductions and stuff. And just be spamming this heal as much as you possibly can, and you can't go far wrong. Like I was about to say, build it with just as much health as possible, and that heal can get pretty ridiculous pretty quickly. Steel Skull is another great shout for just an epic tier support champ. Broadmoor, if you can get the fusion done, is just a solid-ish reviver for the Lizardmen that you can take up to level 50. Qui-Gon is the final champ that I want to spotlight in this one though, just because, man, is this guy extremely adaptable and worth considering indeed. A1, chance of increasing the duration of a random buff and a random ally by 1 turn is kind of whatever. On the A2, it's just very general survivability with a heal all allies by 15% of the max HP and placing a shield buff equal to 50% of the max health on all allies for a couple of turns, so a mix of healing and shielding on the A2, very nice. And then the A3, dude, is this thing adaptable, man. So it's on a 4-turn cooldown bucked. Place a perfect veil buff and an increased attack buff for 2 turns on all allies who are nukers, right? Whose attack is higher than their defense. Very nice, right? However, place a block debuffs buff for 1 turn and a strong version of increased defense for a couple of turns on allies whose defense is higher than their attack, right? So your supports, for the most part, and certainly things like your provoke tanks and your defense-based champs are going to get the, the defense-based buffs, and your nukers are going to be harder to target because they're going to have that perfect veil buff active, and they're going to get that damage buff as well. So Qui-Gon fits extremely well into basically all kind of secret rooms, epic only teams, your faction wars teams, that kind of thing. This guy is really worth considering indeed. Just kind of works everywhere because of how adaptable his kit is. And alright guys, that's all I'm going to cover in terms of the more budget supports, revivers, and healers to keep an eye out for. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit like. If you feel like I missed any crazy free-to-play style revivers that are worth mentioning, then make sure to drop them down below in the comments and just help your brothers out, you know what I'm saying? And yeah, that's about it really. So thanks for watching guys. Once again, if you're looking to set up a new Raid Shadow Legends account, then do so by clicking on my promo link down below at the top of the video description box, man, to sign up and get your hands on Rector Draft as soon as that account hits level 25. Do enjoy the rest of your night, and I'm going to catch all of y'all just a tad bit later, man.